Of course, most of the time, we're actually going to have to solve a proportion. So when we solve a proportion, we're going to have one unknown. And so in this case, as you can see, I have 0.9 over x equals 5 over 0.03. So the big question is, what value could I replace x with in order to make these two sides proportional? Well, it's very easy to do because we've had a lot of practice actually with solving equations. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first cross product, which is 0.027 or 27 thousandths, and set it equal to my second cross product, which is 5x. Notice now I have a simple one-step equation where I can isolate the x by dividing each side by 5, and that will tell me what x is. When I divide, I get 0.0054, and that means x is equal to 0.0054 or 54 10,000ths. Here are a couple we'll try together. 9 times 10, of course, is 90. 6 times x is simply 6x. Notice this is a simple one-step equation. I will divide each side by 6, and in doing so, I get 15. And so x is 15. 15 would be the value that I could plug in that would make the two ratios equal or make them proportional. For my second one, be super duper careful on a question like this. Notice that y plus 5 is two things in the denominator. And so even if there's no parentheses, I want you to add the parentheses to remind you that when I do my cross product, 7 times 5 to get 35, my second cross product is 10 times the quantity of y plus 5. So of course normally I would put the y plus 5 first, but I'm going to write the 10 first and then parenthesis y plus 5. Why do I care so much about the parenthesis? Because that 10 needs to be multiplied by both values. So 10 times y is 10y, and 10 times 5 is, of course, 50. When you have a question like this, you will end up with more than a one-step equation. This is a two-step equation. But it is still not super difficult for us to solve. We're going to isolate first the 10y, so 35 minus 50. Remember, this is now a positive minus or plus a negative. The difference between those two values is 15. The larger sign is negative, so it's negative 15. And now I'm going to divide by 10 on each side. And on the right side, I get y by itself, which is of course what I wanted. And on the left side, I get negative 15 over 10 as a fraction. Well, negative 15 over 10 as a fraction, I would reduce to negative 3 over 2. It's okay to leave your answers as fractions unless you are asked specifically to write them as a decimal. Here are two for you to try, so try them both, then press play to see how you did. For my first, 7 times 3 is 21. 5 times x is 5x. Dividing each side by 5, I get 4.2 equals x. 4.2 equals x. My second one is a bit more complicated. 9 times k is 9k. My second cross product is 6 times the quantity of k minus 7. On the left side, I still have 9k. On the right side, 6k minus 42. Make sure you distribute the 6 to both the 7 and the k. I'm now trying to isolate the k, which means get all of the variables to one side first. So 9k minus 6k is 3k. On the right side, I've gotten rid of all of those variables, and now I'm left with negative 42. So make sure that negative stays with it. If you need to, remember you can leave change opposite or keep flip change to remind you that the negative does belong on the 42. And now I'll divide each side by 3, and I end up with k equals negative, because a negative divided by a positive is a negative, 14. So k is negative 14. Again, if you're unsure if your answer is correct, take that negative 14, plug it back into both, and see if you end up with two equal fractions.